Our next step for our painted grass project. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to have your artwork, and then you're going to have your 2 trays of paint, so your green and your white paint. And I'm going to use this lid for my mixing, but for my boys at home, if you want to get like a paper plate, talk to mom or dad at home about a paper plate to use. You can use that instead. I'm just using what I gave you. So we're going to make a different shade of green, and I would like you to use your brush kind of like as a spoon and just take a couple globs of paint and set it either on one of your paint trays or on a paper plate. I'm going to do 2, so very carefully make sure it lands in there. I think 2 globs will be just enough. And then also have a paper towel with you, and you can kind of wipe off some of that paint, that white paint, before you dip into your green. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get as much of the paint off, but you don't have to wash your brush yet. And then what I'm going to have you do here is just have 1 glob of green, because green is a lot darker than our white. We're just going to do 1 glob of green, and we're going to mix it. So 2 globs of white, 1 glob of green. Let's mix and see. It's a pretty light shade. I might actually have you add a 2nd glob of green to make it just a little bit darker. So again, I'm going to clean my brush. So change my mind. 2 globs of green, 2 globs of white. Because we did our darkest green. Now we're going to just go lighter and create lighter tints from there. So this part's really important, taking the time to mix all of it. Try not, if you're using a paper plate, try not to spread it all over your paper plate. It'd be like painting your paper plate. Just try to keep it kind of in one little puddle. All right, that'll work. So you're going to do the same thing as you did last week, painting 3, let's say, 3 more blades of grass, kind of spreading them out. I'm just going to paint 1 to demonstrate, just like I did last week, and then you'll go ahead and continue. So just reminders, when you're using your brush, using the flat edges of your brush, I'm going to start on this side and work my way across so that I'm not smearing paint. You can always move your paper around to make it easier, but I'm going to start over here. And then just like I did last week, I'm using the flatness of my brush and kind of the corner of my brush right here to get into the corner of that grass. And I'd like you to do the edges first. And my brush right now, because we mixed it, has a lot of paint on it. So you could even, just to get some of that extra paint off, you know, fill in some of that space. But make sure you're really concentrating on the edges. Now, this time I'm going right next to my green, the dark green grass shade, so being extra careful. I'm going to move. And I want to do that up and down motion, even though I'm going side to side now, just so that I'm a little bit closer, a little easier to get to this spot. So like I'm doing kind of an up and down, switching my brush. From side to side. Clean edges, that's what we're really aiming for. Make sure you're going all the way to the bottom, and then fill in that space, smoothing out any paint globs that you see. right. So again, I'm doing the edges first. With this type of brush, I like to kind of go back and forth like this, especially going along the dark green, because I want it to be a clean edge. You gotta be extra careful. Okay. Once you get the edges, then you can fill in the space. Up and down motion, kind of following the direction as where the grass, how the grass would grow. So that up and down, following the length of the grass, even if you're painting from side to side, even if your paper's turned this way, I know you're going side to side because you're following the length of the grass. Okay, all right, so at least 3 of them. Virtual boys, make sure that you're checking with me when you are finished. Okay, have fun.